And there we go, baby. There we go.
We're
Welcome,
live.
everyone. It's our favorite time of the day, and that's the time when we go live, baby. That's the time when we go live, and we have an excellent, excellent show for you folks. I'm gonna let the folks come on, stream on in, stream on in. Come on, friends. Come on, the water's fine. We have an excellent show for you folks. We got the AvaCloud team here. This is going to be absolutely excellent. Um, while folks are streaming in, I'm going to go over the agenda really quick, and then we'll just hop straight into things. So welcome, everybody. My name is Breevy. I'm your host for today. Today, we're going to be focusing on AvaCloud, and we're talking about launching your blockchain business faster, baby. Like super fast, actually. So we're going to talk a lot about an overview, of course, of AvaCloud. We're going to talk about the landscape of launching L1s currently, and then, of course, we're going to talk about the landscape, how it was prior. We will, of course, talk about like what it's like to deploy an Avalanche L1, and then we'll, of course, go over some use cases with different projects. And I'm actually going to say this word because, yeah, this is a very special word to me: institutions that are using AvaCloud, baby. So I'm very, very excited for today. I'm joined by some absolute stars. We got some stars in the building here, man. I'm joined by Perry Smith, Solutions Architect for AvaCloud. Say what's up, my friend.
How's it going? I'm stoked to be here and excited to talk all things L1 related. This is going to be an exciting time.
Yes, dude, man. I'm right here with you, my friend. I can't wait to get into the discussion. I'm also joined by, I got my friend here, Anthony, Solutions Architect for AvaCloud. Say what's up, my friend.
Hi, everyone. Excited to be here as well. Can't wait to get into it and talk about what we've been building.
Man, I can't wait to talk about it with you. So we're actually just going to hop straight into things, my friend. Oh, also, I didn't say this too for everyone out there. Man, Space Dude, what's up? Let's go. Let's go, L1. We got Space Dude in here. We got Cyber Art, GM to the OGs. This is lovely, man. We got a lot of excitement. Oh, real quick, before we get things started, if you'd like to say a statement, participate, send some questions, there's going to be a chat box that you can actually do that with. So if you're looking at this on your timeline, you can actually click on the tweet, and then you're going to have to click on the stream again. Twitter, yeah, you know, it's not the best in the UI. But click on it twice, and then you'll see a chat box to the right of you. If you type in that chat box, I will do my best to get your questions answered and your statement shown, my friends. And we're also going to do a demo today too. I didn't mention that, but that's super important. We're going to be launching a L1 today, so this is huge, my friends. But I guess just to start everything off, Perry, can you just give us a quick overview of what AvaCloud is, what you folks have built over there?
Yeah, AvaCloud is a blockchain as a managed service solution. It's a product tooling for you to deploy and manage your own L1, not only on testnet, but also on mainnet. We have just completely rethought the process of deployment to make it easier for builders to do what they do best, which is get out there and build and let us do the managed infrastructure side for them, ultimately resulting in just a really streamlined process. I think, you know, there's a lot of complexities to how you deploy and manage an L1 across all sorts of networks. It's an entirely new space. And I think what we'll talk about today, which I'm really excited to highlight, is just the progress we've made over the last year as a team. AVAX as a whole, I mean, you're seeing it in practice right now. L1s are deploying and launching. They're going from proof of authority to proof of stake. All these things that were just talked about are actually happening in reality. And I think that's like what gets me fired up about our product and what we're building.
Yeah, I'll jump in there too. I think when we're talking about AvaCloud as a product, really there's three main aspects. One is the actual managed infrastructure of your L1. So easy to deploy, manage in a seamless kind of way through a no-code portal that's very user-friendly. But there's also other components too, right? So we have our client services team, which is Perry and myself and others. So we're like a face. So when you're going through this kind of crucial piece of your L1 launch, you have people to talk to and are there to support you and guide you and make sure that you're going to be setting yourself up for success and for your application, for your business, and for your users. And then the last piece is just the additional product features that we've built on top of it. So in addition to having your L1 launched, you know, in under 30 minutes, you'll be able to have different tools right out of the box to support your application, whether that's interoperability through ICTT, account abstraction through social login, or integrating with gas relayers, et cetera. So that'll all be within the AvaCloud portal and able to integrate directly with your application. So you don't have to work with a bunch of different providers. You can do it in a one-stop shop.
Dude, this is absolutely huge. I also really want to spotlight this. So I'm going to ask you a leading question here, my friend. Are we talking less than 30 minutes to mainnet?
Yep, that's right. So testnet we can deploy in under 15 minutes, mainnet under 30 minutes. So we're really getting instant readiness, and you'll be able to deploy all your smart contracts in your application and start integrating and building right away. So this is a huge accelerator in terms of getting your application to market and your business live and really just launching. So it's really exciting, and we're seeing more and more teams kind of leverage the service and have great positive feedback.
You know what? And, for everyone out there, like the audience, all these projects that I've been bringing onto the stream, they have nothing but good things to say about the team and what you folks are offering over there. I think one of the main things that they highlight, because I always ask this question, why did you decide to build on Avalanche? And I have noticed very consistently that there is a pattern of people saying that the support that is given from the team, from the AvaCloud / Avalanche team, is second to none. And so I love that specifically because we are creating a space where builders can come in and feel extremely supported in what they are building. And I think that's extremely necessary, especially when you're talking about building a technology. One, a lot of people are building technologies that might have never been built before, right? So, there's a lot of different, emotional, physical stresses that come with that. But then when you also think about the fact that things were a lot harder to launch prior to the services that you offer, I think that, this is absolutely huge. In fact, could you talk a little bit about the landscape prior to AvaCloud and then kind of talk about what it's like to launch an L1 now?
Yeah, I think that sounds good. I think if we think back maybe a year ago, we were at a point where it was taking 3 days to launch a testnet and up to a week to launch a mainnet, with a lot of dependencies and a lot of kind of manual interventions from both the AvaCloud side as well as our client side. So as we just went over, now we're kind of instant deployment, 15 minutes for testnet, 30 minutes for mainnet is pretty insane. We also worked a lot on the actual AvaCloud portal, right? So creating this no-code user-friendly experience where you can log in. You don't really have to interact with anyone. You can actually do it self-service. So that's another huge accelerator for teams that are, maybe more competent in the Web3 building and able to just kind of do it themselves and looking to explore what a managed infrastructure offering will look like. And then on top of that, within the portal, we've also built features like organization management. So you can assign different access roles to users that are building on your project. So everyone can have access to the AvaCloud dashboard and see the monitoring of the different infrastructure components there. And then as well as subscription management. So just making it easier to add on services and remove services at will. So a lot of teams we've seen, use AvaCloud to bootstrap their network and then want to start building and managing their own infrastructure. And so we created a way for them to add and remove infrastructure components and maintain that subscription management based on the needs of their actual business. Additionally, as I kind of hinted at before, we've released a number of features. So the gas relayer, ICTT contracts directly within the AvaCloud portal with click to deploy. So you can set up interoperability between, for example, your L1 and the C chain, VRF, if that's a requirement, as well as contract verification in our Explorer, and account abstraction through embedded wallets. So a lot of releases and a lot more to come. So it's pretty crazy to see, within just a year, how far we've come and what's on the horizon there. But I think that's actually a really good segue. I think we want to do a demo now and actually launch a mainnet. So I think that's a perfect way to see how fast and easy it is.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Mainnet in 30 minutes or less. I don't know who else can say that. So here we are. I'll tee this up and we'll jump in. Another thing I just wanted to note too, we've worked with so many amazing builders over the last year plus that this product's been around, and that's really informed our product decisions. And so I like to think like now we're seeing the fruits of all that labor. You know, you're doing something that's new. You're making it as easy as possible with this portal. And so we're just so grateful for all the builders that are building, because I'm going to show you how easy it is to do it, and you can spin one up yourself. So let's jump in. I'm navigating here to the AvaCloud website landing page. It's as simple as you can schedule a demo if you need to, and you want to learn more. But let's log in and kick this off. So I'm going to click that. This is going to open up our portal. So what you'll see here is an overview of the portal and the blockchains that you've launched. I have a couple that are either in progress or launched, but today we are going to create the L1 mainnet for AvaCloud. So all you have to do is click that. It's going to give you these options. You can launch your testnet or mainnet. Again, testnet, 15 minutes or less. Mainnet, 30 minutes or less. So we'll select that option. It's going to load in the pricing plans that we have going on right now. There's discounts, all sorts of stuff. We'll talk about that towards the end. You'll get an idea of everything that's available, but I'm just going to click continue here without the discount. And this will open up the payment portal. We've got a nice handy dandy code for today. I'm going to apply that. Sorry, it won't apply to any of you, but you can certainly try if you'd like to. Roll through. Maybe it'll apply for me. We'll find out.
You're gonna have to bust out that wallet, man.
I might have just, let's see what's going on. No worries. There we go. We're ready to rock. So
excellent.
Zeroed out there, super easy. You enter in all your information. We're integrated with Stripe. So like Anthony mentioned earlier, on the payment side, we just take away all the complexities of what you're going to go through on the payment process and make it like one click.
Real quick, Perry, before you move on, what was this like prior to AvaCloud? Like just this process alone?
Yeah. So, I mean, you would have to, itemize out all of the individual requirements to deploy L1. So manage validators, all the services that Anthony kind of highlighted in our flywheel of product offering, we offer out of the gate. So what you see here bundled into a really nice line item display was a lot of separate services, service providers, infrastructure management, and a lot of setup that you had to organize and launch on top of having to have the familiarity with, launching through Avalanche. So I'd like to say the teams across the board at AVAX have made this entire process easier. With AvaCloud, what I think is really awesome is it's just a couple clicks and you're there. So I'm going to click subscribe and we're going to kick this thing off. So let's do this.
And for anyone out there, while he's going ahead and clicking subscribe, what that means is that before AvaCloud, you probably had to do research on what company that you should go with, which probably took a lot of time, and for each one of these line items that he just described. So we're talking about for maybe hours or days worth of research to going on a website, looking at the different options that you can for the subscription, and just going ahead and click and subscribe. Just got to spotlight that really quick because that's huge, dude.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Give me a second here. I'm going to get this rolling. Let's see if this kicked off. It might have not liked me there. Yeah, there we go. So, all right. So we've started this in progress mainnet. So I'm going to switch over to mainnet right now so we can continue the setup process. And then we'll go through all the customizations that are available. Yes. All right. So first things first, we got to name this. I think it's, an iconic day. So we're going to name it the AvaCloud L1. Oh, AvaCloud demo. Oh, it's not going to let me do that. Hold on. Let's do demo L1. There we go. Cool. Just going to mirror this and then pick a token symbol. So again, it'll preload all this information for you. You certainly want to go in and customize it. That's available to you. And we just did a bunch of stuff there, but public name, L1 alias, your chain ID, and then your native token symbol. Okay. Next, you're going to just be able to walk through this line item list. So it's as easy as clicking that button each time, and it's going to give you all these options that you can review. So this is just to set up interoperability with Teleporter. So you could just literally one click, say, I'd like to add that, click next. Then you can get into the network customizations for your L1. So again, this is a big differentiator on, launching your own L1. You have all of these customizations that are available to you at the network level. And it really just opens the door for a lot of opportunity. Again, what you see in production right now across the board for L1s that have launched, they're taking advantage of all these. So you do begin customizing, you can do a transaction allow list. So who is allowed to transact on your blockchain, contract allow list, who can deploy contracts, native token minter. So you can control the amount of tokens that are minted on your L1. If you want to mint more later, you can. Where your rewards go. So customizations on the gas fees. Are you going to burn them? Are you going to save them for reward distribution? And this is creating a whole new like ecosystem and thought process, especially through these proof of stake L1s and what that looks like moving forward to really incentivize people to, validate your network and in return, get value out of that. So we'll, go through there. Your fees, you can control the fee config, and then it'll just give you this overview. Like that's as easy as it was. This is what we just did. So click next, take you to the initial native token supply. This is again in your control, and it's auto loading in these addresses for me. I mean, I signed into AvaCloud with my Google account. It was that easy. So anybody, literally anybody can do this. And we'll proceed through. You can set your control keys. So there's opportunities to set up multi-sig. You can take all of these considerations for security and make sure that you're taken care of. I'm going to add in this address here, hit next. And then you can set up your validator manager. So we have, this proof of authority right here out of the gate. We'll talk about it a little bit later on like proof of authority versus proof of stake, how people are making that transition, how we're there to support and what that looks like. But I'm just going to do this deploy on L1. You can assign your validator weights. So again, all of these things that would have been a little bit more intricate to do, you would have needed more experience on the developer side. Somebody like me can jump in and do it right now. So then you can also assign the regions for your node specifically. So this is one thing that's been highly requested, and I'm so pumped that our team has been able to work this, into our product. So you can go through and literally pick out of these regions where your validators are going to be. You can assign your RPCs to specific regions. And again, this is to really support our product because our product is global. Blockchain is global, and deploying your own L1 is global. And so what you see right here is literally direct feedback from customers saying, hey, can you do this? And, boom, we've done it. So when you click next, it'll give you this summary, and all you have to do is click create L1, and it has kicked off the process, 30 minutes or less. You are live on mainnet.
Perry, yo, this is absolutely insane. I have to highlight the fact. So for everyone out there, every time he clicked next, that is something you would have to fully develop at one point in time. And now you just got to click next. Choose an option, click next.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm going to stop sharing here, but we'll come back to this in a little bit and we can talk it through.
Sure.
Yeah, and something else to add there is, I think when you're coming from other networks or things like that, you're kind of instantiating your chain, thinking about a Genesis block, things like that. A lot of times you can be a little bit nervous, right? You're like, I'm making these decisions. What if I want to change it over time? What if the requirements for my business change? Like, what am I going to do? Do I have to redeploy the whole thing? Concerns like that.
Yeah.
With Avalanche L1s, you're able to adjust a lot of those settings that Perry clicked through after the fact. And moreover, with AvaCloud, you can actually do it within the portal too. So that's another thing that we heard a lot of clients is like managing those allow lists, like within the portal. Like that's a really easy feature that just allows, more members of the team to be able to make action and decisions in order to support, the management of the L1 itself. So wanted to call that out as like another feature that we were highly requested that we've implemented there in the portal.
I really appreciate you for highlighting that. And from what I'm hearing is you folks are taking a lot of customer feedback and then immediately kind of implementing exactly what they need specifically. I have to highlight that because it's extremely important, especially when we're in this kind of, especially when this industry is developing, everything's kind of new. We have to listen to what the market actually wants, what the community is asking for. And from what I'm seeing, from what I've seen, as Perry just clicked next on literally everything, it seems as if you've been listening to exactly what all your clients want. and then implementing all those different product features. So hats off.
Little clap.
Yep.
Can we talk a little bit? So many industries, they're moving towards purpose-built / app chains, and general purpose L1s. The market's a little bit saturated. What are we kind of seeing from the AvaCloud side?
Yeah, so I'd say, in terms of sectors that are entering the space and trends we're seeing this year. So one would just be like from the public sector. So in the US, we're seeing more positive crypto regulation. So you can think about the OCC just rescinded a lot of restrictions on banks from interacting with public blockchain networks, which allows for more crypto activity, as well as like the Genius stablecoin legislation that's ongoing right now. That's just going to make stablecoins a priority for the US. So domestically, I think that's kind of driving like more interest within the public sector, and then as well is institutional finance. So we're seeing a lot more interest there. But moreover, on the Web3 side, we're also seeing, games, gaming, different applications being built as well. But in terms of like purpose-built layer ones, and in terms of Avalanche, we're seeing a lot of teams come to us specifically for the customization. So all those pre-compiles or configurations that Perry just went through, you can create certain controls and permissions that really allow for different applications to kind of thrive within a blockchain environment. So you can think about those institutional finance clients. They're going to have requirements for, KYB, KYC. And so that kind of parallels right to those allow lists. You can do that customer verification and then apply that actually to the allow list to ensure that who's interacting with the applications on your network. And then Perry also talked about this, but now we have, after the E upgrade, which went live in December, we have the ability to move from proof of authority managed validator sets to proof of stake managed validator sets and permissionless layer ones. And so that is like a whole process that we support now. And so that opens up the door for, even different types of applications. So you have like on one end, like the private permission, leveraging a lot of those controls. And that opens it up to a lot of more enterprise and institutional use cases. And then on the other end, we have now these permissionless L1s that are, designed to engage like a broader community and user base and create some interesting structures around tokenomics that are just like more decentralized in nature. And so being able to support that breadth of different applications and use cases, all with their own purpose-built L1 is really our goal. And so we've had, clients across all the board there. Another trend I'm seeing is just like user onboarding. So a lot of, non-Web3 users struggle, as we know, with like Web3 user experiences. So creating things like embedded wallets and account abstraction have really been top priority for a lot of clients, especially if they're planning on migrating users that they gathered through, a traditional Web2 application, whether it's a game or a business or something like that, moving into a Web3 component. They don't want to create a lot of friction for their existing users. But yeah, Perry, anything else to add there?
Yeah, I mean, all I would say is the thing that gets, our team so excited as we meet with clients throughout, the week. It seems to be increasing the amount of people that are interested because the tech works. I think what I would love to highlight is like we're taking, customers that are maybe they tried to deploy somewhere else and they found it so easy to use AvaCloud and deploy and get their managed infrastructure set. And so that's definitely a trend, is like maybe there was some vaporware or something that was talked about on another network or other networks, or maybe it was just too difficult for them to do that. And so they're naturally coming this way, all the way to like the utility and value for community members for these tokens that have launched. So you can actually take something, maybe a meme, and give it utility. I think that entire, thought process as a whole is both relatively new, but also incredibly exciting because these communities, community is what matters the most. You're nothing without it. And so I think like the fact that we can offer such a wide net for, what's available and help teams across the board, that just gets me really excited. And that plays into, AVAX as a whole. We have arguably, in my opinion, the best teams in each vertical, each sector. you you name it, we've got an answer for it, and there are people working really hard to make it happen. So just excited that AvaCloud can be a part of that.
Real quick, because I think this might be good for the audience out there. Can you talk a little bit about proof of authority versus proof of stake, and then what that process is like moving from POA to POS?
Sure, I can take this. So after the Avalanche 9000 upgrade, or the E upgrade that went live, the L1 validator management moved from control keys to essentially a smart contract. And so with that, you can create custom logic to manage that validator set. So initially, most L1s are proof of authority, meaning that the L1 owners are able to add and remove validators from that validator set. With L1s, you're able to also make your network fully private, or permissioned in the sense that it's open to any user, but still managed by the L1 owner in terms of actual validator set or control of the network. So what that enabled was, in addition to custom logic, so you could think of like some sort of hybrid between proof of authority and proof of stake. That's possible now as well, but the actual permissionless L1s, which leverage proof of stake for the validator management, is now enabled. And so that is just basically like a series of updates to that contract logic, such that you're no longer operating on the proof of authority model and then now operating on the proof of stake model. And so this is something our team is currently prioritizing for our existing AvaCloud clients. So legacy, formerly known as subnets, are running on proof of authority. And so we'll have a very similar click-through process to move from the proof of authority model into the new L1 managed validator smart contract, where you could go from proof of authority to proof of stake. So that's upcoming, a priority for us right now, and we'll definitely make that as easy as possible for users. But on the back end, it's really just moving to that smart contract model and then updating the logic to be the proof of stake.
Absolutely excellent, man. I love highlighting, like, when people start making things easier, that is the things that I like to highlight, just because, as of right now, I think, but prior to AvaCloud, things were hard, man. It was some hard times, brother. if you wanted to launch an L1, man, like Gary, when you were going through all those different wins,
man, yeah.
What?
It takes a village, and so the fact that you don't need a village to do it yourself is pretty cool. And then, moreover, just a last note out there, maybe this is a little too technical, but for the technical folks in the audience, what that will look like on the AvaCloud side is we'll have some series of smart contracts that you can choose from to set up your validator management. So we're going to work on that with client feedback in order to make sure that we're supporting most of the business models that we're seeing.
Dude, this is absolutely huge. Can you talk a little bit about, so obviously AvaCloud is extremely flexible. Can you talk about, how it's flexible for like enterprises and like Web3 native builders?
Yeah, I think, as I said, we have like the full spectrum of clients, from like Web3 native, maybe smaller teams, startups, to, some big, huge enterprises operating globally, with, very strict enterprise SLA requirements and things like that for applications. But what I wanted to highlight here is it's the same technology and the same product. Whether you're a big, huge brand or a small indie Web3 team, it's not less tech or lower quality. It's just figuring out the plan that actually fits best to your project. So, if you don't need 99.99% uptime guarantees for your end users because you're not a regulated financial institution, you don't have to have a robust infrastructure to support that, right? And so it's like you can have a little bit more scaled back, but still highly operational and reliant L1 infrastructure. It just doesn't need to be at that exact level as like something that with more requirements in that way. So that's really the name of the game there, is just like the customization to the specific projects and their requirements. But yeah, I'm happy to jump into some examples, and I think between Perry and myself, we can talk through a few cool client projects that are deployed using AvaCloud. If that sounds good to you, Breeby.
Please, dude. I'm not going to stop you. Do your thing.
Sure, I can go first, Perry. Maybe I'll focus on like more institutional enterprise, and you can focus more on traditional Web3 applications. But from my side, one I wanted to highlight, I know I just talked about some of the stablecoin legislation that's going on in the US. But there's a company called StraightSex, which is based in Singapore. And they saw an opportunity with cross-border payments where, traditionally they're slow, expensive, and prone to fraud. And it lacked like interoperability between different payment systems, which created like a lot of barriers and delays for users coming into Singapore. And these often like required like multiple intermediaries, which just increased costs all around, and introduced different security risks. So in order to facilitate faster and more secure and cost-effective transactions for travelers using Alipay and GrabPay, which are two popular payments providers there in Singapore, they deployed an Avalanche L1 using AvaCloud to integrate with their XSGD stablecoin that they launched. And this payments technology onto the Avalanche ecosystem. So this enabled them to offer faster, more cost-effective transactions to their users across the APAC region, while maintaining the required compliance and regulatory requirements of the region. They also leveraged Avalanche's cross-chain messaging solutions through the ICT contracts on AvaCloud to allow users to actually transfer the stablecoin from their L1 to the C chain, for example, in order to generate liquidity, et cetera. So that was a really good use case, I think, that's relevant as we're seeing more interest in stablecoins this year. And they really kind of were able to expedite their go live time by leveraging the AvaCloud managed L1. So they had a testnet environment and a mainnet environment, and were able to scale up to the transactions and users that they're seeing in terms of volume with no issue.
So I'm actually kind of curious, Anthony. So obviously AvaCloud makes things super easy. How long would it have taken for them to build this out, without AvaCloud?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, but you can think about AvaCloud as essentially like a team of blockchain DevOps engineers. So that's basically what the AvaCloud support team is. We have infrastructure and DevOps engineers stationed globally. And so with our robust monitoring and support, not only are we, deploying the cloud infrastructure that's necessary to run these nodes, we're also developed like a lot of pipelines for, indexing data in your L1, in creating logs and monitoring reports for your L1, such that our team is like notified via pager alerts, et cetera, and 24-hour, 7 days a week monitoring and support. So I think that it's more of like a personnel cost. So depending on how big the team that they would have wanted to have this level of support, it probably could have taken them, upwards of a year or more to launch that infrastructure. So a huge accelerator, as we said, and then, working with them to make sure that they had the interoperability in place and working was like a huge requirement for them. So you can see that reflected in the features within the AvaCloud portal.
Oh my God, a year worth of build time to just
a lot of money.
Yes, and a lot of money. And now we have a subscription model, my friends. Things are moving.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And I think to just share too and highlight one of the parts with AvaCloud that's like exceptional to me is AvaCloud is under the hood for so many of these L1s that have been deployed. And it's definitely a team effort. It's cross collaborative. We're in the ecosystem supporting, and there's so many different people that are working to support all these networks. But one that I wanted to highlight was Cocknet, which I think, a lot of people know about it. A lot of people have purchased the token, and they were looking for a way, how can I participate more, in the ecosystem? So one of the things, that AvaCloud has been able to do in regards to Cocknet is help support the main validator set that AvaCloud or that Cocknet is running. And so it's important to note that because as these projects are moving from proof of authority to proof of stake, there's a lot of considerations that are need to be taken from the technical side. Who is running the validators? How are they managing them? Are they maintaining their uptime? Are they able to get a hold of people to, manage? And the idea, of permissionless is amazing. I'm all for that, the decentralization, but on the flip side, there's a reliability standpoint too, that I think AvaCloud is able to provide that component. And so we're working with the Cocknet team on that side. And I know, again, it's an ecosystem tag team, which I think is like the best part about Avalanche. So there's other parties involved, and everybody's doing their part there to support them. And so that's been a very, very successful and awesome thing to see, in production. Yeah.
You know what? Speaking of support, we actually have a really, really good question from Andre Malcolm here. How close are you folks working with the Off the Grid team?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So, because we have so much experience with managing L1 infrastructure, so even teams that, don't have their full kind of portfolio of blockchain L1 infrastructure under AvaCloud management, we do support the Gunzilla team in a number of ways, from support to load testing, optimization, things like that, as well as running a couple of their RPC nodes. So we work very closely with them as well. And again, our goal is really just to support and, enable all the projects on Avalanche to be successful. And so however we need to do that, we're happy to, kind of come up with a custom infrastructure plan for your team based on what you need or anything like that. And we can take in those requests to be a little bit more specific to certain teams' needs.
Excellent, my friend. Also, so I know you guys got a bunch of different clients that you folks are working with, from the institution, enterprise, gaming, etc. I know there's a specific one I really want to talk about, and that's JPM. Can you folks talk a little bit about your work with JPM?
Yeah, so JP Morgan, they did essentially an analysis of different privacy solutions within the Web3 space. So this was called Project EPIC, which stands for Enterprise Privacy, Identity, and Composability. And so AvaCloud's privacy solutions was chosen as one of their privacy suites that they were kind of running some proof of concepts and investigating in terms of see if this would kind of meet some of the requirements that they were seeing in terms of applications that they were exploring in different use cases. So we were chosen there and evaluated as part of a POC that was built on an AvaCloud L1. And so our AvaCloud privacy suite kind of has a couple of different flavors there, and we can get into that a little bit later. But really what they were trying to drill down into was some requirements for institutional applications, specifically protecting client-sensitive information, protecting alpha. So you can think about different positions that you may have as a financial institution, as well as like compliance with regulatory requirements, which I think is a common theme when we're talking about more private permissioned L1s, and specifically audit capability. So having, private transactions existing, but the ability to, if you were audited or for some reason needed to provide that level of information to a third party, the ability to provide those audit capabilities. And the last piece was identity management. So what they proved out through the POC was that by integrating the privacy preserving tools, specifically the encrypted ERC tokens that AvaCloud Privacy Solutions offers, they were able to unlock better revenue opportunities for market participants, as well as greater inclusion for investors. So this was a really great, I think, because when we talk about privacy, it's like really challenging and really expensive. And so by creating your own L1 and like leveraging these built-in AvaCloud privacy solutions, you're able to kind of get that in a little bit more performant manner, as opposed to trying to incorporate privacy features, let's say on like a public network. So that was really great to collaborate with them, and we've done some work with them in the past before, but definitely wanted to highlight that as we're continuing to build out and roll out our AvaCloud privacy solutions.
Dude, this is like absolutely huge. I had to actually highlight the JPM, that you folks are working with JPM, because bringing these like huge institutions online, like on the blockchain, is going to be absolutely massive for the entire community. So one thing, hats off to you and the rest of the team. And then two, man, just really, really love the focus on these institutions being able to fully customize their L1 to the exact way that they need it to be customized. And a lot of times people build these packages out, and it's only like what I have in this package. But you folks have really, really focused on customization, and we're seeing a lot of use cases get drummed up just specifically because they can come in and they can say, hey, I want to be able to have audits, and then boom, it's good to go. And that's something that some folks don't actually offer. So I really, really appreciate you folks. So I just wanted to highlight that. Can we also talk a little bit about L1s kind of versus L2s, kind of like the difference between those as well?
Sure. Yeah, I think one difference that is oh, okay. I see the question now. What are some pros and cons of it? Okay. Yeah. So I think, yeah. So so I think when you're thinking about an L2, you're still dependent on the underlying L1. And so when you have your own custom L1, you're really not competing for block space, and you're not dependent on any sequencers or doing any fees extra like that. You're basically just like, this is your own network, this is your own block space. You can do any transactions you want, and you're only managing the state and the data storage and all the associated costs associated with your specific blockchain application and transactions. So I think that's like the key differentiator there. You can also think about it as like horizontal scaling, right? So Avalanche is a network of networks. And so by allowing and honestly like decoupling, different applications to their own L1, they're able to have higher throughput and TPS and all the things, which just creates a more efficient, broader ecosystem with the native interoperability that's enabled between all of Avalanche L1s and the Avalanche C chain. So you're really kind of not really missing that piece there. Whereas I think with some L2s, and you'll see is just a lot of like complications in terms of like how you're actually like confirming the transactions and extra fees, things like that. That's kind of eliminated with the L1 model. So we've seen a lot of teams actually come to us having been on L2s, specifically to your point about customization, where they're like, oh, we kind of heard about this, tell us more. And they're like, oh, no way, we've had to do this huge workaround to make this work on an L1, or an L2 rather, but we could just create our own logic on an L1, and we don't really have to worry about that anymore. So it takes a little bit of kind of re-architecting how you think about blockchain networks. Me, myself, before I joined Alpha Labs, I was kind of working primarily in the Ethereum EVM space, and it took me a little bit to get the whole L1 architecture. But once it kind of clicked, I realized, oh, this actually enables a lot more. And a lot of the blockers that some teams face, it's actually addressed directly with the L1 architecture model.
100% agree. Sorry, Perry, you got it.
No, I was just going to add too, like, it's so cool that this space is happening right now in this time, because there's actual examples, in practice of horizontal scaling taking place. And you're seeing additional validators join in on both Cocknet and on Beam. And, what was talked about and at one point was theoretical. Obviously, it's in practice now. You're actually seeing, and I just think that is a revolutionary thing at this point, where we're going to show that you can own your block space. You can get all of the security, the reliability, and the support that you need to own your own L1. And then on top of that, scale to whatever level you want or need to, and maintain, all of the benefits of Avalanche as a whole. I mean, I also used ETH quite a bit back in the day. And the moment I did one transaction on C chain, I was like, I am done. I have switched forever. And then the moment I did it on an L1, I was like, we've done it. This is it. So yeah, it's exciting, right now at this time. And I can't wait, a year from now, where we're talking and saying like, look at the thousands of validators that are now available and present, and how easy it is to use all this tooling, etc. So,
dude, this is absolutely huge. And real quick, Perry, I think you got a little bit of a surprise for us if you want to share your screen.
Yeah, let's do it. So, at the start of this, if you're just tuning in, we deployed not just any L1, we deployed a mainnet in 20 minutes, actually. So it is, don't quote me on that, but 30 minutes or less, and we nailed it. So here is taking you back to the dashboard. So this is what you're going to see once your blockchain or your managed L1 has been deployed through the AvaCloud portal. So you will get an output, obviously in the My Blockchains, this is this demo L1 that we did. It's going to notify you that it's healthy. Again, out of the box, you're going to get RPC URLs. You're going to get your Explorer. All of these things that would be segmented out individually, oftentimes are all grouped together. So it's available to you in one cohesive spot. If you jump into that network and we click into the validators, we're going to get our node IDs. We're going to see where everything's at, the stake weight that we selected, if it's healthy, the region, like I mentioned, where we deployed it in. You can go into your contract dashboard. And so I'm going to have to switch to my L1 since we created that network, and I'm using our wallet here. So let me do that real fast. And what that will do is open up the pre-compiles that were available. So we will, on the contract dashboard, we have built-in integrations so you can easily get to this and deploy, partner with Third Web as well as some other partners, your own token, marketplace, NFT drop, anything of interest. That's another caveat here on the testnet side. If you're in a hackathon or you're doing something on your own, and you need to demonstrate a testnet, look no further. Try it out here. It's right there, ready for you to do, and you can get to building right away. So again, click in here on gasless transactions where you could easily, set up all of the modules required for this. We have all the tooling built in. Again, you just click read and deploy. These are the pre-compiles. So what we selected in that list when I was just clicking next a bunch, they're here. And so it gives you more control over it. You can add in addresses that as needed, depending on the pre-compile that you've listed. So reward manager, your transaction manager, if it was enabled, since it's not enabled here, we would need to redo that. But contract manager, native token minter, fee manager, all of that available right out of the gate in this portal. You get a nice drop down here of the details. So here's your public access RPC. Here's your developer access RPC, which wouldn't be rate limited. And then right there below, you also get your Explorer URL. So you don't have to go third party. It's right there plugged in with your information. And I actually have that here pulled up. So here's that nice overview of your Explorer. Again, all that information right there out of the gate. And then jumping back in, you could also click in and set up your interoperability. So all of it available to you right there. That's 5 mainnet managed validators, a whole suite of tooling. So you can get right to it and keep building.
Oh my goodness, my friend. This is absolutely massive. I also want to highlight, too, because, obviously privacy focused applications, they're becoming more important. So I do want to pivot a little bit and talk a little bit about how AvaCloud has kind of positioned itself as to offer basically the best tooling for that specific industry. Can you folks talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I think, I touched on this earlier, happy to dive a little bit deeper, but by offering privacy preserving blockchain tooling through the AvaCloud privacy suite, we believe this will bring more of the public sector and the institutional or regulated enterprise use cases to public blockchain networks, including Avalanche. So this acts as a key driver for broader adoption, as these institutions will bring greater users that may not have actually onboarded onto blockchains before. So this offers, the ability to create new products, innovate, kind of update legacy infrastructure, things like that. You can think of our financial rails and things like that are, from the 70s that are long overdue for an overhaul and efficiencies in that way. But businesses can increase their total addressable market by reaching more clients that are maybe not interested in the blockchain itself because of, thinking that it's totally public and permissionless, and, rewriting that narrative that, hey, you can actually implement the necessary privacy components that will allow you to benefit from the kind of peer-to-peer nature of the blockchain technology. And so they can also stay regulatory compliant. So as I said, all of our Avalanche privacy tools include the audit module, which allows for a third party to go in and decrypt a lot of those encrypted transaction elements, which is a huge and crucial component to staying regulatory compliant. And then users themselves are able to protect, wallet balances, transaction amounts in terms of tokens, and really their positions in their alpha and kind of how they're operating and running their businesses. So you can think about like taking it back to the L1 model. If you have, a privacy enabled L1 with encrypted transactions, you can kind of keep that as like a walled garden for your business and your institution, while still being able to interoperate with the Avalanche C chain for stablecoins or, whatever that may be. So I think right now we have, an encrypted ERC20 token. We have a solution called AvaC, which is basically built on top of that. It's more designed for CBDC use cases. That includes like a wallet component that actually allows for an anonymity of the wallet, so the to and from senders. And then we have some exciting announcements coming up soon, which will be our encrypted L1s themselves. So being able to build composable logic from the privacy-enabled L1 itself. So between the three of those, we're really unlocking a lot of potential for institutions and enterprises to experiment with privacy tooling in the blockchain space. So really exciting, more to come. Definitely DM me if you're interested, and we can kind of get on the call and walk through some of those in more details to support your application. But I think that's a good high overview for now.
For sure, for sure. Definitely have to make sure we highlighted, how you folks are focusing on that privacy industry, because it is driving a lot of mass adoption from the institutional side. And like Perry was saying earlier, I can't wait for like a year from now. Like, what does this look like? What is the whole landscape? How many validators will there be? How many L1s will get launched? Because now it seems like it's super easy. It's super seamless. You have a whole dedicated team that will help you on your journey for launching an L1. This was not the case prior to AvaCloud. You had to figure that stuff out. So we talked a lot about, past landscape, what was it like for building, prior to AvaCloud. We talked about the present, what's it like building now. Now let's get a little bit into the future, my friends. Can we talk about what you're excited about looking ahead?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no. So I'm excited about just the opportunity for L1s in specific sectors. So obviously on the privacy note and on the institutional enterprise, I'm excited because we've built our product to be specific to those clients and their needs. On the flip side, like the L1 interoperability and ICTT and being able to communicate with other L1s that might be, for example, in the gaming sector. That to me unlocks just this whole new world of both gameplay, user value, and also builder opportunity, because you can not only think about what you're building in your own silo, you can think about what it would mean for your game to be unlocked maybe on another game's L1, or have that opportunity to transact that way. Or maybe you're a validator on a proof of stake L1 and you want to validate multiple gaming L1s, something like that. It just, to me, is the extension of the vision of everything that's been built. And so that gets me really, really excited. I think the value unlock for teams too, as they've looked to deploy and build, oftentimes if there's runway considerations, or if they're, bootstrapping, whatever it means, we're just making it easier and more available for people to build at, a cost-effective way, and then they can turn around and build amazing products. So I also think the tooling for like Web 2 companies. So you have so many Web 2 companies. I sat in so many conferences for AvaCloud where they're like, well, I'm a Web 2 company. What does Web 3 even mean for me? And we really have tried to address that by account and social logins, things like that on your L1 that abstract away this like Web 3 process where somebody has to download a wallet. They got to maybe find a seed phrase or remember to keep it and not, burn it or throw it away. Really just taking those complexities and making that UI UX experience super simple out of the portal with our tooling. But for that, any product that wants to come in, or any company that's like, hey, I see that there's value in having my own L1. I see the value in the transaction speed, or making a gasless transaction environment, and what that means for our users. I think that just really, really gets me fired up because we, early adopters, we had a lot of early adopters, which I think is awesome, right? That's the natural pathway. A lot of people that were like, hey, we're going to do it. We're going to build an L1. And they helped inform so many decisions. But now what we're seeing is like, hey, I'm a loyalty points reward program that existed on Web 2 Rails. Wait, I could go Web 3 right now and onboard all of my users. Not only could I do that, I could also onboard other businesses into this model. And now you're hitting it on both sides. You've got like a business intake lane and you've got a customer intake lane where it's providing a great experience for both, all made possible because of the speed and execution available on Avalanche, built with AvaCloud and supported by our infrastructure. So.
Oh my goodness, this is absolutely major. I also really quick, I do want to highlight like the pricing model really quick. I'm gonna share this this pricing model. One second, boom. Can we talk about a little bit about these different? First off, starter plan, $50 a month. What are we?
Yeah, so this is our part of Retro 9000. We introduced amazing price discounts for the AvaCloud services. So this is our testnet plans right here. So right now you can launch, fully operational starter testnet plan, which is basically anything you would need to start building for $50 a month. And so that's really amazing. And in addition to that, we also have a free 5-day trial. So you're able to spin it up, play around with the portal, see if that's going to be something you're interested in, and then kind of commit to it at the promotional price point for 6 months. So really amazing. We also have the Pro plan, which is if you're more on like that robust side in terms of infrastructure and SLAs, Pro support, things like that. We also have the Pro plan for $99 a month. So really amazing. We're super excited to offer this discounted pricing to our users and teams, and really, really just hoping to support and launch as many L1s as possible. So it's never been easier and it's never been cheaper. So now is an amazing time to really get your project launched.
Dude, this is, oh my god. Every time you folks finish talking, I'm just like, dude, this is massive. Like, I don't really think people are understanding, because, when I look at this starter plan, $50 a month, immediately you can just get started building your project. This was not like this a year ago, 2 years ago, a few months ago. So this is absolutely massive. I'm very excited because when you have a subscription model that's kind of this low in comparison to what it was before, I expect for there to be a lot of kind of independent developers to start developing L1s. I'm very excited to see, college students, be able to get started building as well and see what kind of innovations that they start to build. This is going to be absolutely massive, my friends. And we're coming up at time here. So I want to give you folks a little bit of a space for any sort of closing remarks you have, and to let the folks know how they can get kind of involved with the AvaCloud team as well.
Yeah, so I'd say if you're thinking about launching an L1 or you're in the process of launching an L1, please reach out to us. We're so happy to help you and we'll walk through those pre-compiles, which are relevant whether you're using AvaCloud or not. We're super happy to jump on with you and learn more about your project and see where we can support, whether it's through our service offering itself or, just to get connected. We know a lot of players in the space and we're happy to make intros and help you on your journey. So please reach out to us. Our website is avacloud.io. There's a couple of different places there where you can kind of sign up for a demo and you'll meet with Perry and myself and we'll go through everything, or feel free to reach out to us on Twitter. We're happy to do that and get the conversation going and move into, some calls and video demos there. But anything else, Perry?
Yeah, you can find us in Discord. You can find us on Telegram. We're always lurking in a good way. And so we're there to support. Sure. So really, yeah. And then same thing, when you're in the portal too, we have like a chat box option where you can get a hold of us if you have any questions at all right there. And so we're really, really excited about what this year holds for L1s as a whole, blockchain as a whole. It's a new era. And we're living it. And I think it's the best one. So excited to, just continue supporting.
And for the audience out there, if you'd like to follow AvaCloud on Twitter, I got it scrolling right there at the bottom for you. Please make sure you give them a follow. And I'm going to give you a nice, helpful tip. bell notifications, my friend. Turn on bell notifications. You want to make sure that when they post, you get notified so you can stay up to date with all the information about AvaCloud and exactly what they're building and the different projects that they're working with. Perry, Anthony, I really appreciate you folks so much for popping onto the stream today. This is like absolutely amazing, extremely informative. Also, for the audience out there as well, we recently launched Avalanche Live. We're on Spotify, we're on YouTube MP3, we're on Apple Podcasts. So if you just tuned in and you missed out on like maybe the first however many minutes of this, we're going to upload it to Spotify soon so you folks can check it out there. And we also got a large archive of a bunch of different episodes about AI, DeFi, all these different things that are being built on top of Avalanche. So please make sure you check that out. Just go to Spotify or your favorite DSP, type in Avalanche Live, and you'll be hooked up, my friends. Thank you folks so much for checking us out. Thank you for all the questions and the comments. Really appreciate all the participation from the community, man. You folks seem really, really excited about this. Almost as excited as me because this is absolutely huge. But again, thank you folks so much. I'm gonna go ahead and end this stream, my friends. Make sure you follow AvaCloud. You can follow me at BreevyGotWrecked. And then of course, make sure you're following at AVEX as well, my friends. Peace.